Commissioner, ¿cómo estamos? All right. Face the flag, please. It's right behind you, to the right. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you all. Y'all may be seated. Good morning. Let's see where we're at. Any announcements, commissioners, before we allow anybody else to speak or anything? No, no announcements. Do we have any?
How was y'all already had your tire?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me, Commissioner. Yes, we had our tire deal on 2 weekends ago, and we did real good. We were able to load the trailer up, and it was a great success. We also had the presentation at the elementary school in Fremont, and we gave out some goodies out there with the kids. It was a good turnout. It was a good deal. It helped a lot. We got a full trailer load of tires, so that's a big mess out of the roads. Excellent.
Renee, you had one too?
We had ours also, and we had not quite big of a turnout. No, we filled up maybe 3/4 of that truck, which is a big, but we didn't fill it. So we are allowing, I'm still allowing people to come in and bring their tires so we can get it filled.
And where are you at?
At our yard, on 624.
Sheriff?
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Just want to inform you this morning that we have 59 inmates, 9 females. 5 will be going to Beeville this morning at $300 a day, since we do have only space for 4. We have also started some more training this month. Our training coordinator is taking a conference in the Valley. We're getting ready to take this furniture to the other training center at the substation. We have 2 inmates with COVID-19 and 1 employee. The Lone Star grant that we applied for, we're waiting for that merchandise to come in and equipment. And that's what we've got going. We've got narcotics investigations going on. We've had some good results with our DEA, so we're working very closely with them and have been sent some very excellent reviews from the officer that we have assigned to that location. So everything's good on this side.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Nobody? We don't got anybody out there. Mr. Guerra?
Got one person public to speak.
All right, we have Mr. Canales, if you would.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Emede Canales. I live in Corpus Christi, but I have a property on County Road 145 at 2386, the address. And I'm here to seek help for reconditioning of that road. I really need help. It's difficult to travel from the entrance of where the railroad track is to where I turn to my private road. Along that area, it totals to approximately, the worst part is the first 2 miles, and then you travel another 3 or 4 very freely with a few holes here and there, but the next area, it's right across from the Cafe Ranch. It's about another mile that needs extensive repair. I have made several efforts to the commissioner, verbal, telephone calls to the trouble call desk, seek help through messages or messenger. And lately there is no return calls and no messages back for a status of that road. Myself, as well as other property owners, need to recondition and make improvements, because I go at least from 4 to 5 times a week, and I have to transport feed, cattle, and other necessities that I have, or I need to operate properly at my ranch. There is holes out there for other people or people that have not gone out there as long as 6 feet, 2 foot deep. Now, in the 18 years that I've been there, Ruben Torres used to have a property. His son is the owner now. He used to tell me, be prepared to buy a truck about every 5 years. And the man was right. The condition of that road is very, very unsatisfactory. Now, in addition to the road condition, the sides of that property, of that road, the weeds are high, brush is very high. In the event of a flat tire or the truck becomes inoperable, it will create difficulty to change the tire or wait there for a wrecker or someone that would respond for help. I have a total in my phone of 18 texts to the commissioner, and her excuse and our answer is that that road is next to be repaired. It has not been repaired in 18 years that I've been there. And you're not the only commissioner. Before it was Ms. Perez Almeida, and then the other lady. And none of you have responded properly. Now, I don't know where the money is going. It appears that the money is being utilized in other properties, other county roads. And it's in fairness to us, the property owners along that road, is not acceptable.
30 seconds, Mr. Canales.
Okay? I'm gonna give you some major needs for that will affect us. In the event of an emergency such as a rattlesnake bite, a heart attack, intruders, heat stroke, quick responders such as police, sheriff officers, highway patrols, game wardens, will have difficulty going to provide aid. And that's a major thing, but it's a lifesaver. It's a lifesaver. Illegal dumping from dead animals, household items, tree clippings, tires, appliances. Illegal drugs and human trafficking. I've seen people in action doing illegal activities. Poaching. Hunting season or non-hunting season. People out there poaching. Love lane. I have experienced numerous times where people take advantage of the isolation to perform love activities. If this road is improved, I feel that the families will buy out there, build bigger houses, and that will improve the tax base for the school district, the county, the city, and the appraisal district because of bigger properties.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we have a 3-minute limit. I just allowed you to go a little bit over because of the text. And this is the first time that I hear about as far as the concerns out there from you or anybody else, but.
Okay, one more thing.
Go ahead.
One more thing.
10 seconds.
In the 18 years I've been there, I've seen only two sheriff office officers out there. They don't go probably because of the road conditions. Now, I guess I introduced my point. My question is there a plan for anything, Margie?
We can't discuss this at this time. What we can do is we will forward and leave your information with my office, and we will make sure we will get back to you by the end of the week to see what kind of plan and what kind of improvements we can make immediately for those concerns and what we can do look at the addressing
We
those
need help.
issues. All right.
It's horrible.
Thank you,
very much.
Mr. Canales, for your presentation, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good day, sir. Anybody else that would like to speak at this time? Okay, then we're going to move on to agenda item number 4, discuss, consider, and take action on minutes from previous meeting.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 5, discuss and hear presentation from Patrick McConnell, VTX 1, to discuss opportunities to expand broadband and access to the unserved or underserved areas of Jim Wells County.
Good morning, Judge.
morning,
Good
Ms.
morning,
Moran.
Commissioners. I wanted to introduce this agenda item before we turn it over to VTX and their spokesperson. I met with Robert regarding IT and broadband services, and I know if you'll recall that we've approached y'all regarding some of the funding opportunities that are going to be coming down our way in the form of the Infrastructure Act that was passed in November of 2021 that's going to involve grant funding opportunities for not only roads and bridges, but also for broadband. The state will be receiving some funding as well. And in anticipation of that funding, they created the Broadband Development Office at the state level. And they're in the process of defining and mapping areas, rural areas that are unserved or underserved. And in anticipation of that funding being announced, I felt that it was a great opportunity to bring forth to the county commissioners and to you, Judge, to get ready for some projects that we can certainly look at. BTX is the largest internet service provider for our area. So we met with them and we talked about opportunities and partnering with them in the private sector. And we were very pleased with what we heard. So we asked them to come before the Commissioner's Court and do a little presentation.
Thank you.
So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jeff Patterson. Welcome, Jeff.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you, Commissioners and Judge, for allowing VTX1 to come in and speak with you today. I brought a leave behind for each of you, but don't worry, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time reading directly from it. More of a guideline and something for you to look over after this meeting. VTX1 is, like she said, is the largest internet service provider privately held in South Texas. We've been around for 70 years, and we started off as a rural telephone company trying to fulfill a need that the big companies didn't want to fulfill, especially for the rural areas. Very much the same situation we're dealing with today with the unserved and the underserved, the haves and have-nots when it comes to internet. That existed 70 years ago when we talk about telephone. So that's still what drives us today, is trying to help and fulfill the needs of those that have maybe been left behind by some of the larger corporations that are out there that maybe have a higher interest in a city like San Antonio or the heart of Corpus Christi, but maybe not so much in some of the areas that we all tend to live. Some of the things that people are not aware when you think of if we're not AT&T, if we're not Spectrum, what are our capabilities? And the 24/7 support, the 48,000 square miles of service area that we have. We're all the way from Georgetown to Laredo, over to Victoria, and everything in between, focusing on the rural areas. And one of the things that impresses me about VTX1 is the leaders. And you'll see a sheet in here that lists all of our executives, 2 of which we have with us today. Our COO, Patrick, and our CTO, Sebastian, both made this trip to show how important working with cities like Alice, Orange Grove, Fremont are important to us. And through their leadership, we've recently had some acquisitions to help grow our company. When you talk about rock solid south of San Antonio, TISD in Victoria, and last week closing on Bee Creek in Fredericksburg, just shows you the growth mindset we have, not in the major cities, but in the outskirts where people seem to have been left behind. And we've set ourselves up with their leadership to continue to go out there and look for these opportunities, look for partnerships with counties and cities where it can be equally helpful for the community. It's good for us. More importantly, it's good for the citizens that you represent. We're also what we'd like to think large enough to do what the large companies do, but small enough to do some of the things that they won't. That's where the size of 317 employees comes from. We've had over $20 million in payroll that we distributed over 2021. So we're continuing to grow. We're putting those resources back into the community. Our tax dollars are spent in the communities that we represent. Community engagement, whenever we've gone into any city, anywhere that we work, it's a major initiative of ours to sponsor scholarships, to sponsor events, to team up with EDCs, with the chambers of commerce, helping grow communities by letting them know that broadband is available, not just broadband, but high-speed broadband. Whether you're in the middle of a city, on the outskirts, we're here to be able to serve the people that want to move into your area, that want to go into the county and have service maybe out on a farm, where traditionally they may not have been able to get service before. We're here to help. We have locations all throughout South Texas, from Dilley, Jordanton, George West, Falfurrias, Seguin, and we have one in downtown San Antonio. The next page is our public partnerships. We've done fiber to the home in 29 cities. We started this in 2007. So for a decade, there have been communities under 10,000 people that have had access to 1 gig speed. Something that a lot of larger cities wish that they had, but we've been looking out for our communities. And if you look at recent projects, one of the major ones that we just did and we're working on now is the city of Alice itself. We're investing $1.2 million into the city of Alice by building a major fiber line running all the way down 44, and then looking for opportunities to branch off of there to take care of city offices, anything to do with the school district, businesses that may be suffering. I personally worked in Alice for 2 years. It was about 5 years ago, and understood the issues that when it rained, AT&T's old copper service probably didn't work as well as it should be working. The struggles to get a company to come out here and fix that always existed. Spectrum made some headway and provided some things that we're able to help out, but maybe not to the level that a community that wants to grow and it needs that access to true fiber and the speeds that are coming. The world is growing. The internet is growing. And if you don't have access to the proper type of internet, you have a chance to be left behind. And that's something that we do not want any rural community to be faced with. We've recently done a public-private partnership with Judge Teal in McMullen County in the Callahan area. If you're familiar with that, they had identified some neighborhoods in a community that had been kind of left behind. And through sharing the cost to get fiber built out, all of those residents in that community now have access to low-cost, high-speed broadband that didn't exist before. And what I have next is the fiber map and exchanges to show how extensive our fiber is. We have over 5,000 miles of fiber in the ground. We do things a little bit different than you'll find from most companies in that not a single foot of our fiber is above ground. We do not hang it off of telephone poles. We understand that we're near the water and there's hurricanes. Hurricanes tend to blow those telephone poles over. So in order to provide you the most reliable, best internet, we continue to have everything buried. Even though it's more expensive to us as a company, it's a better service to our end user. A good example of what that looks like is if you look at Fremont, it's a city. Every single house within the city limits of Fremont, every single business has access to fiber right now, and they've had access for years. And so what we're looking for are additional opportunities where it may be on the outskirts of a city, and where there's some growth, some subdivisions that want to pop up, businesses that want to move in. We have the ability to go and help those areas, and we just wanted to introduce ourselves to the judge and to you commissioners. We also have an extensive fixed wireless network. It makes up a majority of our business, in fact, because as much as we want fiber at every single door and every single business, there are some places that are just so rural that it doesn't make sense for anybody to be able to physically get fiber to them. But we've done amazing things with our fixed wireless network. We've made heavy investments into make sure that you're able to get fiber-like speeds regardless of where you live. And those are some of the things that we bring to the table. And I've brought with me Mark Castillo. He's our network manager for wireless. We've got Orlando, who's our senior manager for outside plant design and construction services. And Charlie Valles is our senior manager for field services. So if you have any questions about capabilities, how we do things, what you would like to see done in your community, kind of brought an army to answer them. I know enough to be dangerous, but when you start getting technical or really want to understand how something works, we've got a team that's willing to be here and support the community as a whole. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I see that you're currently having a project working with the city of Alice.
Yes.
Well, you were, yeah. Very interested in obviously affording and making these services available to our rural areas. And we do have a need, so I'm not sure who else is, any other competitors, if there's competitors, but it's great to know that you guys are servicing this whole area.
Mhm.
So it would be in our best interest to sit down with the rest of you guys and figure out how we're gonna be able to provide it, costs and terms and all sorts of.
Yeah, and I think there's so many different ways that each project can be approached in a public-private partnership. And our goal is just to be a good partner. But the first thing, in order to be a good partner, you got to know that we exist. And we haven't had a huge presence in the city of Alice, but I think with the $1 million investment, and by the way, we did this on our own. We did not ask for any funds from the city or from the county to do this. It was us making $1 million investment into this community.
That's good. We appreciate that because of obviously things are gonna be popping up and areas are developing and expanding. And you're right about the major cities that it was just a matter of time before they were, I just read San Antonio, they're regretting the huge influx and they can't keep up with most. So you're gonna have a lot of folks moving and seeking for areas that, of rural areas. But yeah, commissioners, you have any questions regarding this? Because we're really interested in sitting down with them and Ms. Moran, and we can figure out what areas of the county require or that need that service, so we can do that and provide that. So,
Any questions?
commissioners?
At this time.
No. You had a lot of information.
Great. We have, and I guess we'll sit down with the other partners. I don't know about the city of Orangegrove. Do you all utilize that?
I don't know if the city does. I have it
No?
where I'm at in the country.
Do you have something to add, sir?
Sure, yeah, just to supplement with what Jeff was saying. Orlando Quintanilla, I'm the outside plant design manager. And just kind of mention some things that we had been trying to accomplish in Alice. Obviously, we're building some fiber going down Highway 44, right to the middle of town. Essentially, that was to be able to provide access to the primary businesses along the route, city buildings, even county buildings. Additionally, we had took part in a grant with the City of Alice for NTIA, which was to be able to serve underserved or unserved communities with fiber to the home or fiber access. We could also do it with fixed wireless, but since there was a dense population within the City of Alice, we decided to go into that process with them. Unfortunately, we weren't selected. I think we weren't able to go down that path, but it doesn't deter us from trying to build out within Alice anyway. So we have used a lot of our own monies, and we look to try to get grant money, but I think our company is well suited to be able to finance projects like that. Same thing with the county. So within the county, obviously, as Jeff mentioned, we do have a lot of fixed wireless capabilities. We have identified 3 locations that he'll talk about that we're looking at currently that looks like very good candidates to be able to explore doing fiber-fed towers and then doing fixed wireless from there. So I'll go and hand it over to Mark Castillo.
Thanks, sir.
Ready. I'll keep it brief and.
That's fine, Mr. Castillo, go ahead. Welcome.
So we do know that traditionally that we have some areas north of Alice that are a little bit harder to reach with fixed wireless. We've been upgrading our towers, but we have identified some areas like, I believe there's a small subdivision or colonia that's called the Owl Ranch area. That was one of the areas that we identified pretty early on that would benefit from having a tower nearby it, having fiber brought to that tower, and then being able to service those areas. There's been a lot of small homes that are, I shouldn't even say small homes, really larger homes and ranchettes that have popped up north of Alice. So we've identified that we can serve those from that tower, from other towers closer to Orange Grove, as well as the small town of Sandia. Is not very far from Orange Grove, but has traditionally been hard to serve with wireless. Those are other areas that we're looking at, and Ben Bolt to the south as well. So we've identified those areas, and we'd like to continue to make investment
Thank you for that information. That was a pretty good presentation. You have covered area that you need to cover, so I don't know of anything else, Ms. Moran, that we can speak of, that we can coordinate or with our partners or
Yes,
communities.
I think this is a great opportunity for Jim Wells County. There are two, like I mentioned, the Infrastructure Act of 2021 that's going to provide broadband services through the state broadband office. And also there's another program called Reconnect that also provides grants for communities that are underserved. And that will provide us with an opportunity. And I know I've spoken to these individual gentlemen here, and they've talked about partnering with us and providing some of their own funding to match any needs that we may have. So I don't know if, did I, Mr. Patrick?
Just to wrap it up for us is that, we've been around since 1952. We are committed to the rural communities, and we're willing to spend our own money to get things jump-started. Ideally, whenever we can participate with any government funding as well, that makes things a lot easier, a lot faster to do. And then one other source of revenue that we're looking at is, next year, all of the U.S. Congress people have appropriation carve-outs that they're able to designate for certain areas.
Right.
Certainly an area that we should take a look at with our local congressperson here. We're doing a couple of those already further south to identify some areas where we can, obviously if we can provide fiber, that's the best. If we can't, we'll go with the fixed wireless. There have been some technological advances in fixed wireless here in the last year that bring us not quite fiber speeds, but bring the speeds of the network up tremendously compared to what we've had for the last 10 years. So
Yes, sir.
huge advantages for the local communities.
Great.
Thank you for your time.
And this is an opportunity for us to take advantage of.
Yes,
We
sir.
don't want to be talking a year from now that we stayed behind
Yes,
and
sir.
we didn't get on it. And there's no excuse to not have that service provided to our rural areas, every single person in Jim Wells County. So
Especially if we
that's
have
what I
a
have to say, yeah.
partner. If
From
we
now
have a
to then-
partner who's willing to help.
Right.
One other thing I forgot to mention, Judge, is Congress had appropriated funds to help internet services for households at a certain cost. I believe some were paying for internet services like as low as $30 perhaps. And in my research, it shows that Congress is getting ready to expand that program again. So within our community, I think, Patrick, can you mention a little bit about how?
We will be providing a $30 a month program for low-income households, as an example.
I live in a rural
Being
area.
reimbursed fully by the government. So it's a great opportunity, again, to be able to expand out the services to those that traditionally, even if we build it, can they afford to pay for the services? This gives us a way to at least get some of that money, at least break even.
Sure. Well, thank you for y'all's presentation and being here today. Thank you all for everything. And Ms.
Thank
Moran,
you, Judge.
appreciate it. Good luck, guys. Y'all have a good
Thank you.
day. Okay, all righty. Agenda item number 6. Discuss, consider, and take action to approve final plat of ranch at San Diego Creek Unit 2 submitted by James Dean. Good morning, Mr. Dean.
I think y'all have the plats in front of you.
Yes, sir.
It's the extension of what we'd already started, just with, and this is also an effort to provide more affordable housing and get a little bit smaller tracts. Had a tremendous response from people wanting to get into perhaps some properties that are more affordable. And that's what we're trying to do. I'm guessing now, but within the next 6 to 8 months, if we have 10 homes on the ground, it's going to, overall value will be about $2,500,000 in taxable income.
Appreciate your work and coming here before us. Commissioners, any questions regarding this plat?
Michael, did you review the plat?
Yes, I met with Mr. Dean last week and we went over the checklist. All the boxes were checked. Of course, we didn't have anybody well, there is no construction at this point, but all the boxes were checked. The only thing that's a little out of the ordinary is that the 30-year water plan, we're just reusing the same one from across the street from Unit 1 because it is the same water table. So that's, whenever they drill, it's basically the same region. So there was really no need to get a second one.
Okay,
Everything else, he submitted everything else. The deed restrictions are on file with the county clerk's office. And he's got the various plats there that are probably in front of you.
Alrighty, commissioners, any questions?
I make a motion to approve the final plat.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 7, discuss and consider opening sealed bids and selecting new tenant for operation of the snack bar coffee shop at the Jimos County Courthouse. Do we have that? No bids? Oh, okay. Then we're gonna just move on from that agenda item since we didn't have any bids. Agenda item number 8, discuss, consider, and take action to discuss authorization to issue requests for proposals for administrative services and requests for qualifications for engineering services related to the Community Development Grant Severe South Texas Storms of 2018 DR 4377 Grant Program administered by the Texas General Land Office.
Is there somebody here?
I'm not sure if someone is here to speak to those administrative.
If they're not, I had contacted them to have a meeting, and we went over some of the grants that were available. And so we're like at a deadline, I think, but we have only till May 30th, so we need to hurry up and post, publicize and open bids. We even set a date. I think it's May the 23rd to
Okay.
open the bids.
May 23rd for the engineering services, right? To go for the RFQs?
Judge,
Yes.
if I may, on this deal,
Yeah.
this is gonna be for the whole county.
Yes.
It's not just for precincts, so the other precincts are available to apply for it if they got some programs to,
If you have a
it's
project,
including any project, yeah.
Right,
Just wanna make sure that's included.
okay, all right, so we're not gonna take any action at this time then?
yes, we need to
Motion
go
to
ahead.
Table.
We can't table it. We need to
Okay,
go ahead.
table,
and-
okay, but
No, we need to go ahead and authorize to issue requests so we can go ahead and advertise.
Okay, then I
Because we
move
have
that
a
we
deadline.
authorize to issue the request for proposals for the administrative services as
so
stated
who's gonna
here.
be doing?
I'll second the motion.
In a second, discussion.
So who's gonna be doing is gonna go through the GLO or who's gonna?
Yes, it's the GLO.
Okay, so we didn't have any representation from them, so they're our board?
Yes, and they should.
Okay, one thing, you said you made a motion to authorize the RFP, but you also have to include in your motion the RFQ. They're two separate things.
Right, and
One's for administration and one's for engineering.
okay, so the agenda item as stated,
Yes.
that was the motion,
Take
right?
action to authorize for RFP and RFQ.
There you go. Okay,
Administration and engineering.
You got a second?
We need to state.
Yeah.
because you made
That
the
was,
motion.
they've already made the motion. They
So
have to-
basically,
So
we have stated or just as stated in the like I said, take action to discuss and authorize
Does
this
that cover it, Michael?
agenda item.
yes, yeah.
As stated.
And I second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and all those opposed, motion passes. Okay.
And
Agenda item
I will
number-
get with them and get with Linda so we can move on.
Yes,
The
they had a
newspaper.
representative here the last time. She
Yeah,
was here,
uh,
but I expected, but I'm sure they're busy right now with all the other. But the good thing is that we're moving forward on these and it's available. Agenda item number 9, discuss, take action, consider and take action to discuss, authorize to hiring a professional services for 2022 Colonia Fund construction application preparation and management services and engineering services.
Again, this is another one of those grants that is coming to a closing.
Right. Okay,
I
so,
make a motion to
Yeah.
authorize the hiring of professional services and engineering services for the.
Well,
Colonia.
Okay, so the way that's worded, it sounds like y'all are gonna do the hiring straight up. There's no RFP, no RFQ, or is it, are we using the same process as number 8?
And we have to do RFP and RFQ.
Well, whoever's submitting these, we should be consistent in the wording. Because it sounds like this is a different procedure that we're using on this one versus the one on number 8.
huh,
I did,
okay, well,
but
that's
the
okay.
wording came from
The wording came from the general land office?
this was grant. work.
Okay, well then let's just clarify that you're going out for RFQs and RFPs as appropriate for number 9 as well.
Okay. So,
So I make a motion that we authorize the hiring of RFP and RFQ, that we go out for advertising to get bids.
Is that good, Mr. Guerra?
Yes.
Okay, I think we understand that we have to go after RFQs and RFPs regarding these services, so in general.
Let me clarify something. You said that Grant Works worded this.
That's what it came from.
Is that possible, Michael?
What do you mean? Was it-
You're saying that
They
Grant
said
Works
it-
worded this, but we're going out for RFPs and RFQs.
I don't think we have a choice. I think we have to. It's for these types of services, we have to go out.
And they're just like assisting us, and I send it to her.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so we have a
So we
motion
need a
on the floor.
motion.
Do we have a second?
To go out for the Colonia grant.
Guys, do we have a second? This is standard stuff.
for
second it.
grants.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and all those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, thank you, Margie. That's pretty standard here stuff. Okay, agenda item number 10, discuss, consider, and take action regarding oil distributor.
So I was supposed to get the old distributor April the 1st, but the week before, it broke down, so they took it to a shop on 2508. Who's the mechanic?
Marcos Garcia,
Marcos Garcia.
What's the status of that oil distributor?
it's still down.
You can't figure it out?
So it was
They replaced
fixed.
a lot of parts on it and everything. We finally figured that we thought we had it ready. We took it to Corpus and loaded up. So we made a deal with Margie to be able to finish 1/10 of a mile. So before we would bring it back over here and we would bring everything to her so she wouldn't have to pay anybody to
How much
bring
have
it.
we spent already
So-
on this
so-
oil distributor What- to this date?
So we took it to Corpus and loaded up
What's the cost?
and it broke down over there again. So it's in the shop in Corpus Christi. right now.
How much have we spent?
Offhand,
so
I'm
far?
not sure. It's
has
about
the-
9,500,
How much?
about 9,500 so far.
And it's still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
And they're getting,
And it wasn't on warranty. They've asked if it was on warranty. It's not on warranty. It's there at the shop. We've given numbers to Margie, from the mechanic to the supervisor, to everybody. Everybody's aware of it. It's there.
They're still
I have no
charging
control
us?
of it. They're working on it. They're not charging us. It's working on it.
Actually, he said he ordered some, something that melted with the heat, sensors. And they were supposed to come in Friday, and so hopefully they're replacing that, and it's still in Corpus, so he's working with a gentleman from over there.
Did you get your material in, Margie?
Did I get my material? Well, we have those grants with the city, so the material has already been
You
ordered.
already
and
have the
committed.
material?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't,
So
looked on the
what I was
paperwork.
gonna say is we need to change that as soon as we get the machine, that we start counting the 60 days. Because we have work to do and we don't have a machine.
one thing I want to say is on the distributor, if we just all work together as far as, if it goes down, when you have it, if it goes down, we all get an email on it and what the cost is at that time to fix it and where you're at, are you almost finished or anything dealing with the distributor, we all have to be kind of kept in the loop on what's going on. And I mean, Nelda's looked up the information on the, this truck, it's a 2019. And I mean, I just don't understand how there's no warranty on a 2019, so I'm going to get with French Ellison. I'm gonna start looking into it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
so there's no warranty at all whatsoever? Who purchased it, the vehicle, the actual?
The county.
Carlos,
Well, county-
yeah,
Who?
I think
It's
it's in precinct 3. It's in my insurance.
Actually, that truck is not in anybody's name.
No, I know, but I mean,
It's still under the company that they bought it from. That's how bad it is.
It's financed.
It's not even in Jim County's name, because we tried getting the sticker for the other trucks, and we've had a huge problem with that. And I just checked just to see, to make sure, check this truck, and it wasn't even on, it was on, what was it? Some company that we bought it from. It's not even in our name.
Whoever owned it before, prior to.
So it was bought
No,
pre-used?
It's never been transferred.
No, it was built for Jim Wells County, because I ordered it, but Carlos picked it up.
He ran the VIN number and it's showing it's under
We own that piece of equipment, Jim Wells County
Yeah.
owns.
But we don't have title to it. Or-
We should.
So what are you saying, that it's in another company? You're saying that it's in another company's name, but it's in our,
But the county ran the VIN number.
so it's not in our title,
It's not, he said it's not showing on your.
but you're saying it is?
Yes.
Where have you seen-
Typed in a wrong VIN number.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that goes on.
Also, we can get it paid for. It's in our inventory as far as precinct 3.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, we gotta clarify
We have the
that.
invoice.
We gotta clarify
showing the
that.
2019 Kenworth.
Because most importantly, nothing's gonna get done for our residents in our roads.
Exactly.
If this doesn't get, and this is on everybody here, because since we have to get on it, then, check on it and make sure that's clear. And then let's get this thing on the road, or get something to get these roads done. They can't just sit in the shop, infinitely. Right?
The bottom line, we need to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's getting
And
fixed.
it's getting fixed. I mean, it's a
It's getting
mechanic.
fixed.
That's the bottom line.
We've done
What-
everything
what
we
the
can
cost
do.
is, it
We've
doesn't-
taken it to them. We placed it there. We've done everything in our power.
Well, the cost does matter.
And it
It
doesn't,
does matter, but
it's
at the end
out
of
of
the
our
day, we need
hands.
to get it
It's not
fixed.
like I'm working on it,
But if they can't fix that item, I mean, something needs to get done to get the roads done. It doesn't matter, lease it,
we
rent
need to
it,
get it back in operation. That's the bottom line.
before
And that's what
the
we're trying
roads
to do.
start. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforard, but
It's as simple
let's
as
see if we
black
can
and
figure it
white.
out by the next
The
meeting.
ownership doesn't really matter right
No,
now.
it's just
It
getting
belongs to
fixed,
Jim
but-
Wells County, period.
We need to find out if there's any kind of warranty.
Okay, but
It's
more
27,000
importantly, how
miles.
long has it been in the shop?
It's been in the shop since the
Over
last
a
meeting we
month.
had.
Since the last
Since
week
the
of
meeting
That's
we had.
the most important than anything else, that no matter how much we pay for it, or whether we have to,
Yeah,
it's gotta
regardless,
get
it's-
done.
listen,
and
It's
that's-
out of my hands. If it was me working on it, I could understand. It's not us working on it.
Right,
We took
right.
it to the shop. It's at the shop. We talk to the guy at least once or twice a week, and he's telling us what's going on. He's replaced numerous
he-
parts, and it hasn't worked. When we thought it had fixed it, we took it to get Margie's oil, because we ordered some oil, and it didn't make it back. So we left it at the shop in Corpus. It's at the
So
shop in
how
Corpus.
soon do y'all need that? What projects are coming up that,
I have 3. I have that grant with the city.
and when does that start?
the
When do
solar.
they?
I mean, we need to,
There's a possibility
it's-
that we won't be ready, right? And that project will have to be,
I've even looked for, to rent one.
that's
but
what I'm
they're
talking
not
about. That
available.
if we have to rent one,
They're not
while
available.
the other one gets, this is just, but anyway, we'll move on, guys. Y'all.
So
figure it
I'm just
out.
saying that
All right,
we
so,
need to change, because we had set up dates that I was supposed to get it from April through May, right? So it needs to start the 60 days whenever I get the
Okay.
machine.
that sounds good.
And this is just for fun, Margie, but you told me that it didn't matter. If we lost it, we lost it.
Lost one.
If it was raining or whatever, you said, nope, you have it for a month, and if you don't get it, that's it. If you use it for a month,
I
it didn't
didn't
rain.
say that.
Yeah, it's in the minutes, we'll
Okay,
bring it
we
back.
can look at
I'm
it.
just saying.
Okay,
They
it
don't
says
follow the
here,
rules, but I'm
it
just
says
saying.
here, discuss, consider, and take action regarding, what action are we supposed to take?
To change the date, to
Okay.
start 60 days from the day that we get it out of the shop.
Out of the shop, okay. All right, do you want to make that motion?
I make a motion that we change the date that we had set due to the machine being unavailable.
Second,
Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. We'll just follow up on that. Agenda item number 11, discuss, consider, take action on a request by Commissioner of Precinct 4, Huicho Gonzalez, to hire a grant administrator to inform, present, apply county of any different grants available.
Judge, I've asked for this item to be in the agenda for the mere fact that we've had some issues some concerns that, we have Ms. Moran working for us through the ARPA money, and other grants have come available, and we're trying to push them on her, and I don't think it's fair because we haven't hired her for anything else. And I think it's about time that we step forward, move forward, and try to get our own administrator that'll help us look for all these grants that are available, that she can do the paperwork for us, and as we request something, we can go to her within the county and get things done a lot faster, instead of us commissioners ourselves trying to do this stuff. And I think it's time for us to move forward and take the leap here and just go out and request for qualifications to hire somebody for administrator.
Do we have that to hire, like, as far as the budget process, or goes to create a new?
That's why I kind of want to put it in here right now, so that way we can start moving the ball towards our budgeting process and
create a
see- yeah,
position.
Yes, sir, to create a position to
That's
try
gonna
to
fall
bring in
under
the, I would say, general fund or auditors, I'm not sure,
under the auditor?
commissioner's court.
Oh,
We can set it up, we brought it up last budget, we do need help with the budget process, once you all okay it,
Okay.
At that point, you all can address it, who it's gonna be under, it'll be your decision. We'll go ahead and fund it, y'all okay it, and whenever it's time, we'll go through a process of, getting applications.
Through the protocol. Okay. Just like we still have to go through the other positions.
Yeah,
that we
so,
have to
so
do.
we can make it fair for everybody and have the, I feel that that's one of my biggest downfalls is doing working grants. Margie works, we could probably get a lot of better service working out of somebody is hired strictly to do that and keeps us working on our main issue, which is county roads and bridges.
I agree.
We could,
So
get a
what do you
lot more
want to
from
make the
there.
motion, sir, as it's stated, Commissioner?
I'd like to make a motion on item number 11 is presented.
Well, this is to
To go
hire,
out to,
to develop,
Right now, or budget?
like during budget workshops or
Right.
To begin the process of creating a position for a grant
because we
writer.
still have to figure out the price and all that.
we gotta, we also think we have to advertise, no?
I'm sorry.
No, we gotta do that, but
Well, we still have to get a price, salary,
And we have to go
so
through
they
the,
can understand what they're
Create a
applying for.
position.
I do wanna make sure,
do we do it properly? Because if not, you know how that goes.
And we
We don't
can
want-
just hire.
but did you all wanna present it for the budget and comes into effect at the beginning of the year? Or are we
Yes.
talking-
That'll be, to work it out in the budget and then make it effective at the beginning of the year.
And like the judge says, you say correctly that we need a protocol, everything being done.
Just like we do with any other hiring and any other advertising and all that. Because we do want to be fair to everybody.
So to make a motion to accept the item to be able to bring it in within the new budget and starting at the beginning of the year. Employment effective at the beginning of the year, 2023.
I make a second.
Is that clear enough, Michael?
Michael?
Yeah. It's really just symbolic at this point because there's really no action being taken. The only way you could do it right now would be to find the money in the budget, come forward with a proposal, move the money over, establish the office in the middle of the fiscal year, which, we don't do that. I mean, I'm not saying we can't do it. It's never been done, but we generally don't do that. So at this point, everybody's just basically affirming that come budget time in August and September, that they will work to allocate sufficient funds for this office, not office, but for this department, I guess would be a better word, beginning January 1st.
Okay. Is that good? Is that your,
Motion and a second.
okay, I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 12, discuss, consider, take action on a request by Commissioner Precinct 4, Huicho Gonzalez, to hire an engineering firm to measure miles of county roads to establish how precincts will allocate funds for road and bridge.
Judge, I've discussed this before in the past. I think we need to bring somebody in to officially measure every single road that we have and either be by caliche roads, paved roads, whatever kind of roads we have. We go by measuring our own single roads. It's on a trust system. It's been like that forever. I mean, we're still using a pick and an axe, I guess, to do things around. I want to move forward and try to create something more professional that we can get a more exact measurement and either go with road assessments, mileage, whatever. I know people come in here complaining about road constructions. We're all in it together. It's not just Margie's problem. It's
everyone,
my
I
problem.
understand.
It's Renee's problem, Ventura's problem. It's everybody's problem. So we're trying to get something more professional to get the right mileage, to be able to go in here and maybe even do a road assessment and try to find out how to allocate this funding that everybody is always debating about.
We've spoken of this.
And we have spoken
previously.
before in the past, and I think it's time to once again, to move forward and take the leap and try to do this.
Okay, you want to make
So
a motion?
do we have to go out for an RFQ? Or
No,
do
we can
just
hire
have to
someone.
Just hire someone.
We'll hire someone.
And
It all
bids.
depends on the price, huh? Michael?
I had mentioned that we were gonna do it, so I'll,
Yeah,
Here
that's
we go again, I know
basically,
we reserve monies in the budget for it.
yeah,
No, we have.
Well,
I don't
but
know
it-
how much it would cost or.
it's just
we can go out for it and the price is there. We can figure out it when we get to the budget,
I mean, we have the.
however y'all wanna do it,
We
yeah.
have the ARPA money
Yeah.
to pay for it. Yes, ma'am. Yolanda wants to say something.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think, Michael, there's still the question about whether they would have to go out for an RFQ for this. But I'd like to also point out there is ARPA monies. Again, the Infrastructure Act is going to be providing funds as well. And I think, as Commissioner Huicho Gonzalez points out, it's a good idea to have a strategic plan in place on how the Commissioners Court is going to apply this funding. So if you have an engineer who gives you an assessment of the conditions of your roads in your precincts, that gives us an idea of where the monies that are going to be coming down with this Infrastructure Act, how to apply those. And that kind of helps you all as a framework on how these monies are going to be applied. So.
Very good. Makes sense to identify the areas that are more needed and which ones have been, all of those factors.
Well, those are two different functions now. Now we're talking about not just measuring as is posted on the agenda, but now you're talking about assessing and prioritizing repair needs. So as far as measuring, I'd be surprised if anybody would charge over the $50,000 limit. But if you start putting in a needs assessment, that may change. It would certainly change the price. I don't know by how much.
We'll just go out and get a feel for it right now. We had mentioned it before, previous meeting, that so if it's within the range of the under the 50 and then whatever's budgeted for the 25,000 that we have in the budget for engineering services and all, we'll check it out. Okay,
Make a motion.
I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
And the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. We'll check it out and see what they tell us, what the cost is more or less off the. Okay, discuss, consider, take action to authorize Jim Wells County Commissioners to adopt a, where are we? Resolution officially designating American Rescue Plan funds as lost revenue per Treasury's final rule.
Judge, Commissioners, as you know, Congress adopted the American Rescue Plan in March of 2021. The ARPA funds are intended, of course, to provide state, local, and tribal governments in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And Jim Wells County received approximately 7.8 million funds to address the local needs that were identified by COVID-19 pandemic and the community participation meetings that were held throughout Jim Wells County. In May of 2021, the U.S. Department of Treasury published what they called the Interim Final Rule. And if you recall, I did several presentations on just the Interim Rule. And what they were doing, what U.S. Treasury was doing during the Interim Final Rule was receiving feedback from the communities and counties as to if there was any changes before they went back and issued the final rule. Well, the final rule was issued on January 6, 2022. And what that final rule does, and I did a presentation on that as well, where I described it makes it even easier and more flexible for us to be able to use our ARPA funds. And in that final rule, there is an option for us to designate all of our ARPA up to 10 million to designate it as what they call a standard allowance or designated as a general revenue loss. We don't have to show how much revenue was lost. We can declare up to the amount that we received as general revenue loss. And what that does is it now makes it more flexible for us to use it in what we call our general services. We'll still have to apply projects that deal with a pandemic and COVID, but the restrictions are a lot less, they're more flexible, I should say. So the U.S. Treasury recommends, we've been to some workshops where they recommend counties that receive less than or up to 10 million, that they designate this as revenue loss, so that it frees us up to have more flexibility on how we can use it. So if the commissioners approve that we designate this as revenue loss, we will keep it in a separate fund. Of course, it won't be in the general fund. It will be designated as a separate fund. but will be declared as revenue loss, and we can use it to apply to our general services projects.
So, Ms. Moran, this is just making it easier for us to administer and distribute and tap into it, and still keeping, track of, that it falls within those parameters of whatever.
Yes, sir, I would still
And
be.
we can't commingle it with the general fund.
No, sir, we
at all,
cannot
so-
commingle it. I've spoken to Mr. Noe Gomez, our county auditor, and we've talked about how this, so that we can track it and how we spend it in the project. So once,
Report to the treasury, we still have to keep track of that?
yes, yes.
So everything still have to be approved through Commissioner's Court
I'm sorry.
to be able to use any funding from there.
Well, we're going to,
It's not for just general fund.
Once it's allocated, or once it's once we determine, right? Is that the way it's gonna be worked? I mean, we're not just,
Do we have a resolution already?
yes, sir, I have attached a resolution that I can read to you if you would like.
yeah, sure. Yes, ma'am. Let's do that.
Okay,
and then
it
we'll-
says, whereas Congress adopted the American Rescue Plan Act in March of 2021, ARPA, whereas ARPA funds are intended to provide support to state, local, and tribal governments in responding to the impact of COVID-19 and in their efforts to contain COVID-19 in their communities, residents, and businesses. Whereas the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds ensures that governments have the resources needed to fight the pandemic, support families and businesses struggling with its public health and economic impacts, maintain a vital public service, even amid declines in revenue, and build a strong, resilient, and equitable recovery by making investments that support long-term growth and opportunity. Whereas in May of 2021, the U.S. Department of Treasury published the interim final rule describing eligible and ineligible uses of funds, as well as other program provisions, and sought feedback from the public on these programs, rules, and then began to distribute our funds. We received ours last August, and we're getting ready to receive the second tranche within the next 30 days. Whereas the final rule offers a standard allowance for revenue loss of up to 10 million, allowing recipients to select between a standard amount of revenue loss or complete a full revenue loss calculation. That was the initial in the interim rule where cities and counties had to calculate how much they actually lost in revenue if they wanted to declare it as revenue loss. Now it's pretty much up to, we can declare all our amount up to 10 million as revenue loss. It goes into the use for general services. It'll be kept in a separate account, but
General services like the general fund, but the. general
yes,
fund, because there are funds.
yeah. And of
That
course
would
there are,
also- Now that I see our fire chief, that would also maybe.
Yes,
qualify
yes,
for those
sir.
Funds to be able to help.
yes.
Acquire that much needed truck.
Yes, and there's another agenda item that I'll be talking about, those projects and things for consideration. So whereas recipients that select the standard allowance may use that amount, in many cases, their full award for government services with streamlined reporting requirements. That's that flexibility. Before, if you were going to go water and sewer category, remember I mentioned those 6 categories, 5 or 6 categories? Now, everything just goes into one lump sum fund, and we don't have to break it out. All we do is track the projects that you all are going to be using the funds for. I'll be tracking those projects to make sure that we stay within compliance of the rules. Now therefore be it resolved by the Jim Wells County Commissioners, the county elects the standard allowance available under the revenue loss provision of the American Rescue Plan not to exceed the total award that was allocated.
Very good.
Any
Okay,
questions?
Any questions?
We're just separating the funds, that's what it amounts to.
Yes, and declaring it officially as, that we want it as revenue loss versus keeping it as the way the final rule, you can break it up into
Doesn't make any
select
sense to
projects.
keep it as the.
Yeah, but the US Treasury says,
let's
why
just-
wouldn't you? We're giving you this opportunity just to take your monies up to 10 million and declare it as revenue loss, and then you can use it. It kind of, I want to akin this to the CARES Act, where At one point, it just became one source of fund to be used, to be used. So basically, this now can be used for what we call general government services.
Make a motion that we designate the American Rescue Act funds of 7.8 million as lost revenue per treasurer's final rule.
A second. A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
Have to sign off on this deal. Does everything have to come through you, or if I get appeal, Authorize, so do we sign off on it, or do you have to present it to Commissioner's Court?
Well,
I want to get that clear.
Once the commissioners approve their projects, let me just give you an example. Let's say like the solid waste grant or the parks grant they're currently working on. I am responsible for getting any invoices directed towards me. I will create the POs to identify what funding sources. This will be the same way. So once the commissioners identify their projects, I will be helping them in, if we have to go out for RFQs for, or RFPs, I will be responsible for helping them with that if it's an ARPA project. And then any invoices or anything will come through me so we can make sure that we put the right funding category into it. And of course, I will communicate that with you. That's a very good question, sir. But yes, I will. And that, turn it over to
you and
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And that's the whole idea, is to help alleviate some of that from the commissioners taking that on or their staff. This is part of administering. It's kind of like when you administer a grant, your grant consultant manages the entire grant all the way to its completion, and ultimately it's single audit and closing. It would be no different. I just completed, we had a report due April 30th. That has been done and submitted, so we're good on that. And then.
Thank you for the work you've been doing. It's not easy work. Can you imagine what we were doing without you before? It was not getting done. And that was our argument initially when we first came in. We've probably, we don't need any more delays anymore. So we're really considering, really seriously, considering everything we talked about today as far as having someone, and that's something that we should have done initially. But yeah, the administration and all that, nobody has an idea how
and it serves to help guide all the commissioners in projects that they may have.
Not only guide, but not only that.
And administer it for them
the
as well.
paperwork where nobody has time
Yes,
to
sir.
do that. I mean, they have a secretary or two, and if they're not focusing on their day-to-day operations, how are they gonna even take the time to do
Very
everything else?
correct, Judge, and that's why I want to make it clear that she's going to be the point on this, and you all don't have to worry about doing appeals, whatever project you're awarding, just give it to her and she'll take it.
Yeah, and it all helps the county auditors as well, I would hope.
It makes everything more efficient for everybody. It's just-
that way, they're not scrambling because I know you showed me all these grants that you guys, I have to oversee, so
The last
this.
thing we need, which we haven't had, is to get some kind of audit from the federal government, the treasury come here.
Yeah, we want to stay on top of those.
We haven't made a motion, I don't think, right?
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yeah.
We have a
We
motion?
need to vote.
And a second, all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. That was a good question. No, I'm glad you asked that question, but before we proceeded and close this out. All right, agenda item number 14, discuss, consider, and take action on scheduling a date, time, and location to set an APRA workshop to discuss budget priorities along with a strategic plan on the best practices and use of American Rescue Plan 2021 funds based on the county commissioners' priorities and community input.
So Judge and Commissioners, as you all know, we have been conducting community participation meetings throughout the different precincts. In addition, we reached out to all of the Jemez County departments. Letters were sent to them along with a budget spreadsheet to ask them to identify any priorities that they need, that they may need, that we could tie back to, of course, COVID-19 pandemic. So we have completed all of that. They had a deadline to submit some of their projects. We did receive some from some of the departments. what we need to do next is to determine a date, time, to set an ARPA workshop so that the Commissioners Court can go over all the identified priority projects and any other projects that some of the community may have
Suggested. and everything.
suggested. We've got some nonprofits that would like to approach the community, the commissioners regarding potential funding for them, so we would make time for them to do their presentations. I believe y'all have been approached for a fire truck, so that would be included in part of the discussions during our ARPA workshop, including any, we will present the funding identified projects from your community meetings will be presented. We will, we will also, we will also go over any other grant opportunities that we can leverage funds with and tie in with our ARPA funds. So it's going to be a good long day. So I
Let's
think
work
we
on a
need to
date
separate
that,
it from a
that's
regular.
important. A very good day that would be not so busy and so hectic and not too many, so anyone can participate. I mean, this is a one-time deal and we won't get an opportunity to make decisions on this money, this windfall that came in
Yes,
that
sir.
we weren't expecting. And I would suggest, again, like I said, we have some priorities coming up and you guys, it's up to you, but boy, those roads, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's gonna come up over and over again. People are gonna continue getting, our roads, our protection, our safety, our fire, those priorities. If we don't get that, because you can always build on the other end from your revenues later on, but right now is the time to, there won't be any other time to get these roads done properly. No, yes.
And I agree with you, we need to get it as quick as possible,
Yeah.
because there are some time limits that we have to spend the money, set the, whatever projects we're gonna do,
Yep.
and we have to spend. even-
How about we say sometime like in June or July, like it's summertime when there's less, sometime in June, at the beginning of June?
I'll be on beginning of June, my birthday.
Okay.
Take the whole month.
Yeah, and
What about,
again,
what
just to
about
remind y'all,
Tuesday, the 24th of May?
we do have to obligate our funds.
Sooner the better to
May the
me.
24th?
The sooner the
Tuesday,
better.
May the 24th?
A Wednesday's
Sounds good, yeah,
probably easier
fine,
for me.
sure,
Do you
okay.
prefer a Wednesday?
Wednesday would be easier.
The
Wednesdays are
25th?
good, yeah, I think that could be a
Don't
good.
matter.
May the 25th?
All right, then that's good.
And we'll start at 10?
Yeah.
Or you need to start earlier?
Bring
That'll
the
be
tacos
fine.
ready.
I'm ready whenever you all are ready. That's,
10 o'clock's
10
good,
o'clock.
y'all can,
So are we gonna, so we're gonna post this as a workshop?
yes.
yes, sir,
Right.
you would have to post it as a workshop.
Okay,
We'll post it as a
And that's
workshop,
why
Linda.
I put it as an agenda item, so we could check with our county attorney to make sure
We need
that
to
we
make
meet
sure
the,
Boardroom is available. May 25th at 10 a.m.
We can always do it over there if it's not at the sheriff's annex,
Oh, yeah, if it's not.
if it's not available.
Let's look at and we'll make a decision, see if it's available. If not, then we'll make that other, is that okay, that other location, the annex?
any location y'all would like, sir. I'm,
All right,
it's an action item, so if y'all want to set date, time, and I don't know,
What's the margin, 20 what?
May the 25th.
10 a.m.
Michael, if we have to do the location or just a tentative location?
yeah, we're gonna have to check with the judge's offices, because they may be having criminal or civil court. And if that's the case, then we may have to go off-site, maybe at one of the other locations, but just for the public's, just to let the public know, this will be posted. It'll be posted online. It'll be posted at the usual location of the courthouse. And at that time, we will include the date, the location. We know the date and time, the location, TBA.
We'll make sure we let all the parties, all the interested departments.
Yes, sir, I will, if you.
Nonprofits.
Yes, if you will
Where we're gonna be
communicate
located at.
any nonprofits or organizations that are interested, including.
Right,
I
the
believe
fire
Mr. Patrick
department, yeah.
Also, we'll,
We can address
can do
that
a
quick.
presentation at that time as well. Anyone else that's interested in being heard and doing a presentation on consideration for projects or equipment.
Okay, so right now I'll move that we schedule the date, which is Wednesday, the 25th of May at 10 a.m. And location is still up in the air. We'll make a determination on that. Okay, that's my motion.
I'll second.
I'll second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Moran.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan.
Appreciate it. 15, discuss, consider, take action on payroll and bills as submitted by county auditor.
I make a motion to approve.
This is with exemption 52, 53, and 54. Okay, I have a motion on the floor
I'll second it.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Any other discussion, commissioners, before we adjourn? No? Thank you, everyone, for participation. I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
And I
I'll
have a
second.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. I'm gonna be in.